Thank you so much, Jessica, for being here. I'm really excited to be speaking with you. You want to take like 30 seconds to just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to doing what you're doing.
Sure. So thank you for having me. My name is Jessica Tomac. I am with Edward Jones, a financial advisor. So I came to becoming a financial advisor because I had tried to use financial services for many years prior to that and kept running into situations where they were predominantly male advisors that wouldn't either answer questions. They made me feel like I didn't know what I was talking about. I didn't feel like they were helping kind of coach me. They just wanted to do it all and not give guidance. And so finally, after several years of trying to find a better fit, I decided, well, I'm going to just study and do this and become a financial advisor. So 10 years ago, I became a financial advisor and have been studying and working on my craft ever since. Really to empower women is my goal, to know what their money is doing now, what they can expect from it in the future. And really, as they're building businesses or doing whatever is passionate to them, they feel like they have financial plan and a coach that they can come back to and say, hey, here's where I'm at. What do I do next? Because sometimes folks just looking for that, what do I do next thing.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. I noticed obviously you help like people with all sorts of backgrounds, different things, but very specifically like in the business, like entrepreneurial space. What made you get into that part specifically?
So as I find value to them as entrepreneurs and being a part of their tribe kind of at the table.
Yeah. And was there like do you see specific like traits that of like entrepreneurs in relation to money, like habits or even just personality traits?
Yeah, so I think it's funny because if you look at men entrepreneurs versus female entrepreneurs, I feel like there's a large difference between the two. Women want to know everything before they do it, and men are like, oh, I got 45%, I'll figure out the other, as I go along. More riskier, right? I feel like women have a financial security means more cash in the bank, and guys could literally be running paycheck to paycheck and it wouldn't stress them out. So I think there's a lot of financial differences between how a female does it and a male does it, or what security feels like to them. Um, a lot of business owners, when you get to a certain, when you just start out, you are just feeding your business, but then they build wealth and they're not sure how to disseminate that or what process to put in place. So it just keeps building in cash, not earning anything. And so they have to work really hard for their money that's not growing.
Right. Now, before we get into like what to do with the cash, do you have a personal like preference or think it's better going having more cash in the bank or running more like paycheck to paycheck?
From 6 to 12 months of your operating expenses, that can be business and personal expenses, set aside in cash. And then after that, you can do different things that earn a little bit more interest than just cash in the bank.
Is there like a reason for that 6 to 12 months, or is it like just a random number?
Yeah, no. So the for 6 months, basically, if for something happened and you couldn't work, if you're a sole entrepreneur, and maybe you're only, you're in charge of all the finances in your home, if you didn't earn something, if something happened and you had to have a surgery or you came down with, a disease, something happened and you couldn't work. I want to make sure that at a minimum 6 months, you can pay every bill without a single piece of earned income up to 12 months.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so once we have like that savings of 6 to 12 months, personally, I think that it's a lot. Like I know it was used to be more like people used to speak about like more 3 months. I think like COVID made people talk about more. But
Well, and
once,
people,
yeah, what?
yeah, people still do talk about 3 to 6 months, but I feel like for me, that is people who work for a company, maybe, and or there's dual incomes, then you could.
Okay, you got cut out. I don't know what happened. Can you just repeat
Yeah,
that?
your
I'm sorry.
screen froze. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, she's frozen. Okay. So did you hear the three, it can be 3 to 6 months if there's another member of your family
It
earning
got cut out
income.
in the middle, so I'd rather just have it together.
Okay.
It'll be easier editing. So you want to just repeat it? Yeah.
Yeah. So if there is someone else that's earning income in your home, then you can have 3 to 6 months based on their comfort level with job security. If it's just a single family with the earned income coming in, that's where we get that 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's say we have 6 to 12 months in the bank in cash. What do we do now?
Yeah, so then based on your bills and your comfort level at a minimum, your to pay bills and make life continue, another 6 months in CDs. Right now, CDs make you 5%, so that's a great rate with zero risk because those are still FDIC insured. And then after that, that's when you start doing that investing into, yeah, either it can be your retirement accounts, it can be just investments that you could pull in any moment if you needed them for your business or your personal life. But then building those out tax efficiently is most important.
Is there specific ones that are most tax efficient?
Yeah, so I love to use exchange traded funds, ETFs. Those have a very low cost and are most tax efficient.
Yeah. Now, how does it work like investing for the on the business name versus on the personal name? Like, how does that work out for tax benefits?
Yep, so those are just, you would get two different tax forms if you had it for your personal versus as your business. And some businesses, how their taxes are due is ran underneath the personal social security number anyway, so they end up being the same in essence. But if you were actually doing two different taxes for your business and your business, so I have a lot of business owners, they don't want to take the cash from the business side in case they need it and they don't want to show it as income to move it to their own. So we actually do those CDs and the ETFs and the tax efficient stuff all in their business account. And then that's just part of their taxes that they file. Any money that was generated, any income that was generated, it would be recorded as the business if that's the name it's running under.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, the only like that's like only problem afterwards will be like if someone gets into like messes and their issues, then it's like under the business versus their name. But hopefully we don't get into that. What do you see the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs doing when it comes to money?
I think not taking advantage of the tax efficiency things as they have more income. A lot of times they just start taking more income versus looking at ways to make it to reduce their taxable income amount and do it differently. So if you are an entrepreneur and you funded a owner only 401k, all of that money you could put over $60,000 a year in it, and none of that would count as taxable income, and it'd be a business expense. So I think really understanding your taxes and efficiencies to earn money, grow money, and yet not pay more than you need to in taxes is super important.
Yeah, we don't learn about these things. So we need like the coach like you to really like say like, hey, you're doing something wrong simply because you don't know that there's another option.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how did getting into this own work affect your own money? Like obviously you had like you studied and you've had some of this before, but actually getting into the deep of it, how's it affected you?
Yeah, so it's been interesting. So I grew up with a family that was paycheck to paycheck. We didn't have money. They filed bankruptcy. So there was a lot of financial stress growing up. And I knew that I never wanted to be in debt. However, then I went to college and had a lot of debt. So worked two jobs to get out of that. And that's really why I jumped to different financial advisors because I wanted to do more than just my work 401k, but nobody was kind of coaching me to say, do this. And it was really trial and error. And unfortunately, I made some poor choices of some, like it would have been Bitcoin today, but it was the .com boost, the boom. And I got caught up in that and it went to zero, right? Because I didn't have anyone coaching me. I just thought I was the smartest person and I couldn't get help, right? So I think having those resources and now what I've been passionate about is just making sure I keep getting different licenses in different education so that I can better have a better understanding of all the facets that are out there. Because I feel like if you're not learning, you're dying. And the more I can learn and bring it to folks, the more value I can add. And that's really important that it's not just like, oh, throw this in an account and we never talk to you. That's not what a financial coach is doing.
Yeah, no, I'm in such agreement with you on that. I'm curious, what's your perspective on like money mindset in general?
That's a great question. Uh, I think everyone's different, right? There are definitely right now, I would say we had a couple of banks recently showing that there's some closings happening, a lot of fear in the market. Even prior to this happening, the markets have been going up since September. And yet, if you watch any television show, you would think it's doom and gloom every single day. And so I think people are fearful to put money in the market because they think they're going to lose it all. And yet, if they could have a different mindset to think, I'm buying stuff on sale. And if I said to you, hey, do you like to pay full price for something or half price? Well, you're going to tell me half price, but you don't behave half price. Right. So
I
I
love
think,
that example, right? We always say like buy
right.
stocks low, but no one thinks of it as like buying it on sale.
Yes. And people are asking, what if everything goes bankrupt? Well, if there's no toilet paper and toothpaste and all these things, like the world doesn't exist today if everything went bankrupt. So I think there's a lot of fear in people because they don't have people talking to them and coaching them about things that are good things on sale that could benefit them long term.
Yeah. Now, how much do we know? Like, what do you usually recommend? Obviously, every business is different, but like, how much do you recommend taking excess money and investing in, let's say, in CDs or stocks or other investments versus finding additional ways to reinvest it in the business of, like, let's say, additional marketing or things like that?
Yeah, I think it's based on where your company is in the process of growth. And if you're making a business plan, in my opinion, you're always taking a piece of your profits and earmarking it for future of investing because you don't want to work forever. Most people don't want to be on the work till dead program. So you have to be building up something to replace that income stream when you stop working. And so doing a portion of it to that. So some folks just start with, well, I'm going to take 10% of my gross profits. Or, I'm going to take 5% of my net earnings, whatever it is, and they're earmarking that for their future. And then each year with their business plan, some of these business owners, they end up with access to more than enough cash. They're not investing it all in more marketing. There's no way for them to spend it all. And so therefore, how are they diverting it to not pay taxes, not just have it sit in a bank account?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, is it the same if someone plans on selling their business for multi-million or stuff and then like they're like that's what they're going to live on after? Do you give different sort of advice?
Yeah, so there are still things that they can be doing, and I have had many because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. What I find is sometimes, unfortunately, they're so passionate about their business, they believe it's way overvalued, and what
Oh
they
yeah.
think they're going to get for it is not the reality. And then sometimes we're surprised. Sometimes it actually is the flip. I just recently had a scenario where we had planned on selling the business for 1 million, and the land that the business was on ended up being a premium piece of property, and we actually got 4 million for the land. and didn't sell the business at all. Just literally the business was canceled and done. So, I think really understanding what is the value of your business and then having that phase out, all super important. I think also one of the things that a lot of business owners really like when they have expendable income is there's a way for you to fund an investment that gives you a tax-free income in
Oh yeah.
retirement. And it's almost as if you were creating your own pension. And so when folks can do things like that, they really like it, but oftentimes they don't know what they don't know. And if unless you have a coach kind of helping you through that, hey, let's look at this, you can always say no, but at least you're getting broad ideas of what is out there.
Right, right. Now, what would you say to like as we're like having this fear going on right now, right? Like specifically for these days, like what would you tell entrepreneurs nowadays? Like as one piece of advice, just to what should they do with their money?
Yeah, so always have enough cash. That rainy day fund is your first priority. I would actually cut marketing expenses and other expenses if you don't have at a minimum that 3 months. And if you're a sole breadwinner, 6. I just think it's that important. Inflation is, going up so much. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now. So cash is king. After that, don't be afraid of the markets. Find someone to coach you, find someone to help you pick the right things that are on sale today and going to bring you great value, 10 years, 15 years, whatever down the road.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica. You want to tell us where we could find you, hang out with you, and learn more from you?
Sure. My website is edwardjones.com. And if you just type that in, Jessica Tomac, Tomac, you can find me there. Also, I'm on LinkedIn, and you can find my regular Facebook page as well under Jessica Tomac, Tomac.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica.